Hello there, Lunar Squadron, and welcome back to the channel. Today we have a very interesting Star Wars Outlaws conversation, as we would like to reshape some of the recent discussions around this game. If you've been paying close attention to this game or hanging out in our comments, you will know that a lot of the commentary surrounding this game recently is about external factors such as the price of this game and the developer studio, but not a lot of focus is on actual content within this game, such as the setting, the story, things like that. And today we want to sit down and have a conversation about whether or not Star Wars Outlaws is the game that we as Star Wars fans deserve right now when it comes to Star Wars gaming. But before we get into this conversation, we would love to have you as always, and the way to do that is just go down below this video, hit that little subscribe button and the bell notification right on next to it. It'll notify you every single time that we upload. And if you would like to take this conversation beyond YouTube, make sure to go over to Twitter and follow us at Lunar Squadron. Now, with all of that out of the way, Andreas, you ready to jump into this conversation?
Oh yeah, let's do this, guys.
With the rumors this week of a brand new Star Wars RTS Total War game out of Creative Assembly, it really got us thinking about the current state of Star Wars gaming and really the near future of Star Wars gaming. Star Wars Outlaws truly is the flagship game for Star Wars over the next foreseeable future, the next few years. And this game is not only the flagship Star Wars game, Andreas, it is also attempting to enter a genre that Star Wars has not really seen. And when you take a look at the history of Star Wars gaming, it's touched pretty much every genre. So this game is a big deal for a lot of different reasons.
Yeah, it is. And I mean, when you just look at the EA generation of Star Wars games, we can see what EA tried to do with the Star Wars label. Of course, they brought Star Wars to the online multiplayer FPS world with the first and second Battlefront iterations. Of course, they also launched a very successful semi-open but mainly linear story Metroidvania in the Jedi Survivor and Jedi Fallen Order titles. And then, of course, they rolled their dice with a pseudo-simulation title in Star Wars Squadrons. And now we're kind of wondering what has been left untouched. What is the next step for Star Wars gaming? What genre are they going to be going into and growing into? And of course, we know the answer to that question is, for the time being, with Star Wars Outlaws. Of course, we've seen them time and time again taunt that they are the first AAA open world Star Wars video game. Hell, they've gone as far as to say that they are the first Star Wars open world video game, totally balking at the idea of Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga being an open world Star Wars video game. But nonetheless, that is what they have set out to do. And I guess the question here is this game going to be the best step forward into that genre? And is it the game that we would all hope to expect out of the Star Wars label going forward?
Yeah, that's a really interesting question, because Andreas, if I was handed the keys to create the first open world Star Wars game, I don't think that this is the direction I would have gone in, and I don't think it's the direction you would have gone in. I think we would have aimed for that Jedi type open world game set during like a Republic era with those core worlds, but that is not obviously what they are doing. But I do like the direction that they are going in, and it's actually very creative, the direction that they're going in. If you guys are wondering out there why this is not a Jedi game, or why it's not a bounty hunter game, why they decided to go with a scoundrel, they actually answered that question in a Game Informer interview, where they said that they wanted to craft an adventure built around a unique perspective, one that speaks to a different set of characters and navigates the galaxy in a different way. And the archetype that stuck out to the developers was the scoundrel. They say that plenty of developers have explored the Jedi and Rebel experiences, but scoundrel tales are far less prominent. The quote being, "We felt that one of the venues in Star Wars that, especially recently, hasn't been explored as much is that of the scoundrel character." Now, Andreas, a lot of people that we've been seeing in our comments, and we see this all over the internet, is they're disappointed that the first open world Star Wars game, a game of this magnitude, is not going to involve the lightsabers, the Force, Jedi, those traditional Star Wars things that we know and love. But one thing I do really respect about this game, as much as I love running around with a Jedi and a lightsaber, is that they actually looked at the overall catalog of Star Wars games and we're like, what hasn't been touched? What can we do that at least feels new when it comes to Star Wars? And that's a really hard thing to do in Star Wars. This is a franchise that has been around for 4+ decades, to find a new place to explore. And I respect the hell out of them for trying to do that with this game.
I do as well, Nick. And one thing that I also really respect is you would almost expect a studio like Massive to almost shy away from the scoundrel genre, particularly after the weak reception of Solo, but I believe that that reception may have been more due to people not really taking to the idea of Han Solo as a character being recast as Alden Ehrenreich, as hard as he tried to fit that role. Harrison Ford's shoes are just maybe a bit too big to fill. But one thing that Solo did very well, I think, in my opinion, is it filled out this world of a scoundrel where we had all of these different factions with, of course, Crimson Dawn proposed to us. And that posed a world that I couldn't wait to dig in more. And while I personally didn't quite take to the whole Alden Ehrenreich being Han Solo thing, I had bought into the world that they had tried to create. And the one thing that this game is doing is it's going deep into that world. It's not trying to do so with somebody else recast as Han Solo. It's creating an original cast of characters. And I'm hoping that their originality in that endeavor will allow them to flesh out this part of the universe that will make for a successful open world game. Because when you particularly look at other successful open world games, like the hallmark successful open world genre is Grand Theft Auto. Everybody's going to be comparing open world games to Grand Theft Auto till the end of time. When you look at that game, it's not the best, and you're not dealing with the best and brightest of the world in Grand Theft Auto. You're dealing with the shadier side of things with more illicit activities. It's like the seedy underbelly of the real life world. And I think they've maybe hit the nail on the head here with a Star Wars project where you are dealing with the darker sides of the Star Wars universe, with the more illicit sides of the Star Wars universe. And so I think this might be that closest step that we may have to a Grand Theft Auto in the Star Wars universe, which personally gets me so excited for this.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm always excited about new opportunities to explore that galaxy far, far away from different perspectives. And I think that's a great way to do this. And I also think that the direction they're headed with Star Wars Outlaws is a great balance of playing it safe, but also taking those risks. You're playing it safe because you've set it during a very familiar backdrop. You set it post Empire Strikes Back and before Return of the Jedi in that original trilogy era, so you can rely on those very familiar original Star Wars things such as the Empire, Stormtroopers, and all of that. But you're also now exploring a very interesting time in the galaxy with a brand new set of characters that we don't know anything about, so we're going to get familiar with a bunch of brand new characters and a brand new story that's set to that backdrop. And I'm so excited to see how they're able to craft that and put that together, because I think that's one thing that I'm always interested in when Lucasfilm attempts to go at these eras, is how they carefully balance these stories with characters and already established storylines that take place during this exact same time. So I think it's just a nice balance that Massive is aiming for here, and it takes those necessary risks. And even though I said that this isn't the direction I personally would have gone in, I really do love that Bounty War era stuff that came out of those comics, and this is kind of exploring that era. So I personally am very excited about this. I do think that this is a game that is worthy of being the flagship Star Wars game for the next few years, and I do think it's the game that we deserve. Not everyone will be happy with it, but if it does end up being what we think it will be, I think this game will be very well received going forward by the Star Wars fan base.
Yeah, and one thing's for sure for me personally, I've been waiting to see other groups of developers get their hands on this IP and show us what they can come up with. We've loved the work that's come out of studios like Respawn Entertainment, and it just makes me wonder how many other talented artists and game developers, software engineers are out there and capable of making incredible Star Wars experiences. And I'm really hoping, just based on what we've seen from this game, that this group at Massive is up to the task. I think they do have what it takes to make an incredible experience. And for me personally, this might be a controversial take, I think the next step in that direction of like building something super special with the open world genre in Star Wars is taking that step towards like a GTA Online, where you have like almost like an online open world RPG type thing. That for me is like the most aspirational open world project that I think a studio could get to. Is Ubisoft the publisher to achieve that? I'm not so sure, but maybe they are, and this is, if anything, a great step towards that dream that I've always had for such a long time. Like, I just have always dreamed of an open world Star Wars universe where you can hop online with friends, you can be a Jedi, your friend can be a scoundrel or a bounty hunter, and then you can go about exploring the universe together and doing all these crazy things in the galaxy far, far away. That would be my open world dream, and I think maybe, just maybe, this is that first baby step towards that.
Yeah, it definitely could be. This could be a great stepping stone. Anyway, guys, let us know your thoughts down below. We just wanted to sit down, have a conversation, kind of reshape the conversation around this game. It can be exhausting to just argue about price and stuff like that over and over again. So it's just nice to talk about something else when it comes to this game. Let us know, do you think Star Wars Outlaws is the flagship Star Wars game that we deserve and or need going forward? If you had the keys to sit down and develop the first open world Star Wars game, would it have been a game like this? Would you have gone for that scoundrel solo type experience, or would you have done something different like we would have done with, say, the Jedi and the Republic and those core worlds like Coruscant? Let us know your thoughts down below, and if you want to take the conversation beyond our comments, we would love to have you join our Discord. The link to that will be down below in the description. It's a great place for you guys to get to know us better, for us to get to know you better. Really is a great place to just hang out and talk about all things that we love, including Star Wars. Anyway, guys, that is going to do it for us for this one. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, we will see you all next time.